Hey, how's it going? It's Hudson here, back with another video, and this time what I want to show is a commentary on one of my own Mythic Plus runs this week, and I'm going to point out all of the mistakes I made, not all of them, I'm sure there's some that I don't notice that someone else could point out. Feel free to comment on those, and the stuff that I think I did well, and what stuff could be replicated. I'm doing this because I think that this is kind of lacking for certain specs and classes in the community, and I thought that I could bring this at least to a decent level. And I might do this with a couple of other dungeons, so other fire mages can kind of get an idea of where you want to combust, how your decision making should be for different aspects of the dungeon, and just how you can carry this over to other dungeons. I thought about this recently because I have a VM Hunter alt, and I've been trying to learn it, so I kind of understand that. I get the rotation, I get what buffs you need to keep up, what Azurite you need, all that stuff, but it's different knowing that stuff than actually performing it in a dungeon and kind of seeing all the unique utility that different classes bring to each dungeon. So it's nice to actually see it and have it commentated by the same person who's performing the run, which you don't always get to see on Twitch because a lot of times people are focusing on their run, which is completely understandable. But I thought this would be a nice chance to just kind of elaborate on my own play. So, here you go. Alright, so we are just starting to get into the key, and you should see me font here before, I start fonting right here, and in Freehold, because you're going to be combusting the first pack, you have to get that font beforehand. And before we start, I just want to say that I am playing the 1 minute combust build, and we will actually bloodlust this pack. And I will bust on the Enforcer, him having the highest health, right? So that I'm able to get that Ignite as big as I possibly can and have it spread to all other targets. I'm going to use my wrist wraps right here and get all my charges back. And then we go in and his Ignite spreads. I think I start doing like 1,000,000 damage or something crazy because fire mages are super overtuned. But we kill the pack super quick, actually way quicker than I had anticipated, because usually I'm able to have my second bust, not ready, but maybe like 5 to 10 seconds before we go into the Obelisk, right? So I can combust, my mini one, on the actual Obelisk in there. So we start to go in, I have 30 seconds, so we're doing well on time. We go in, I communicate that to the tank, and we start moving it. This, you can blink past these little things, and we have a hunter. I'm not sure if he does in this key, but hunters can actually have their pets taunt the Spirit Breaker cast on those, which is something that's very helpful. Looks like he does. And the tank doesn't have to take it, so that's just super helpful if you can do it. Now my combust is finally up, so I'm actually able to put my Worldvein, put my Rune of Power, and then do my mini combust. And as you see, I actually had 3 Fire Blasts going in. And now is a good time to see, but that little fox icon with the number above it is actually my Blaster Master stacks. So if you notice, that was a small combustion, right? So I don't have the wrist wrap, so it's harder to keep my Blaster Master stacks up, but you have to, if you can, keep your Blaster Master stacks up for the entirety of the combustion, both your big and your small one. Gotta watch out for the Dark Fury, of course. We bring it up here. And because of the timing was a little weird, I don't have combustion at the exact start of this pool, but it's always, I like to have on Freehold combustion for go, of course, combustion on this Obelisk, and then big combustion for this 4-pack we're about to pull. And then we'll pull right into the boss, and I'll have combustion a little bit into it. Alright, so this pack right here, you're going to have the 2 dogs and the enforcers, and the enforcers do the backhand, so you want to make sure to stay out of that, and while this is happening, the dog or the bird is going to poop on you, so you want to make sure not to have that happen on you. I come in, I have 3 seconds, I can bust, I get a little bit out of there, and then you notice I have my 3 Fire Blast charges going in, which is really nice. I Scorch Combust while my Scorches, that happened. So that's something I could fix. And I'm also playing, you notice I'm playing 66 Corruption, so whenever that thing from beyond comes and hits me, it actually triggers the circle around me, right? So it's super tough to play sometimes when stuff like that happens and you're combusting, but you have to, my keybind for my cloak is H actually, so I have to reach over there and click H while I'm doing my combustion rotation. But luckily it's off as GCD, so it's not horrible, but you don't always have your cloak ready because it's a 3-minute cooldown. But that's some more intricate stuff. You don't have to be playing 66 corruption. I just do it for some extra damage. It helps here and there. But later on in the week, I actually began to play 44 because I like at these level keys, you don't really need that much more damage. I don't know. So we're going to the boss, and Skycap and Crag, actually, during his first phase, you want to not get charged. That's the main thing. And then once the bird, I forget the bird's name, but once the bird goes off of him and he's just standing there, the shots from Skycapin will actually one-shot you, but you can outrange them. However, you can't outrange them if you're a melee class, right? So if you're a melee class, you have to line of sight them on the... Oh, yep, here. Another thing from Beyond. There's actually a horrible combustion because I got, if you see, 4 things from Beyond on me right there, and I didn't have my cloak because I used it earlier. I probably shouldn't have used it earlier, but that, I mean, hindsight's 2020. You see me going out of the ring. So the thing is the melee have to line of sight the shot from Skycapin, but in order to do that, that means there can't be any bird poop in the one spot that you can line of sight it. So the range are in charge of that, and because we have Hunter and Resto Druid, they can actually do all the baits, and I can sit out here. But if we did not have those, like if we had a H Pally and like another melee, I would be doing all the baits. But the rest of the fight's pretty simple. And I believe I am able to get a pretty good combust after that. But like you saw that last one, it's super hard sometimes playing with this corruption. And yes, I have 2 Frost Nova charges, but it just doesn't always work out. Sometimes you're in combustion or sometimes you're scorching and you have to get that scorch off before you can, and it hits you. You get in a ring, you get in 2 rings, 3 rings, you get like a damn Venn diagram of rings. And it, I don't know, it really sucks. But I guess we'll fast forward through the rest of this. So once we kill Skycap and Crag, what we do is we want to skip the Enforcer on the bridge, right? So you can either, at this point, either have the Hunter do it because he can feign death, or you can have me do it and invis past him, right? So here I am grabbing the Enforcer. I want to make sure I tag him so no one else gets like accidental aggro or something. I come up here and this is pretty dumb. I should not have got hit by him, but I'll come down once I like bait him over there. And I'll invis past, so you see me invising right there. It was pretty stupid that I got hit by him, actually. So once I invis and get combat melted off or whatever, I'll hop on my touring rocket and head over to the pool. It ends up saving a lot of time, because doing that 1 pack on the bridge is very inefficient in terms of like the damage distribution. So we get the packs. He picked up the yellows here, which you were not supposed to do, and he did not mean to, so it'll actually do some sanguine healing on these. You see me start my bust right here, and I mismanaged my Blaster Master, so I believe I didn't get optimal stacks here, which is pretty unfortunate. You see Duelist Dash going the whole way over there. Someone should have... That's going to be a lot of sanguine healing. So I probably should have rooted that, but I'm a little bit hesitant to use my Frost Nova on this week with sanguine, but... That's my bad. I was more focused on combusting than anything there, I guess. So, from here, the tank's looking to pull that Vermin Trapper down into the next pack, and I'm kind of looking at my combust like, oh, I've got 35 seconds until my next combust, maybe a little bit less with some good procs and stuff, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to bust on this Vermin Trapper. Mainly, I think I actually hit one of these. Yep, that's unfortunate. But I have 15 seconds to my next combust rate. So I don't actually font here because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to bust this depending on how the pool goes and how quickly it dies. I may end up holding it, and I'm not sure if I do. I should combust right here. I should definitely, yep. Okay, looks like I'm going to combust here. So there's still like 90% health, which definitely means that I should combust. But the other thing is we're pulling these packs over here, which you actually, it relies on me combusting, so we pull the 2 packs on the left up here together, right? And that pack essentially relies on me combusting. But if you look at the at the timer on Bloodlust, we're gonna want to line that up with my big combust. So I'm kind of thinking of all of that at the same time. And then once we pull all of those, because we need the extra count from the mobs that turn neutral once you do the dog event, right? We need to kill them before we do the dog event. So we have to do all those mobs before we do the boss even, right? And the hunter will go do the dog event once we kill those mobs. I believe what we do is once we kill all of the mobs, he does the dog event while we do the obelisk, and then we come back to save a little bit of time. But that was kind of something on the fly. That wasn't part of the part of the route. I believe he could have. Yeah. So we actually decide to wait a second. I forget what this was for. I think it was for the pat, but we were also waiting for. Okay. What happened here was we were waiting for the giant to pat, and we were discussing when we should pull the left pack. And I said, don't pull the left pack, don't pull the left pack, don't pull the left pack, pull this one right here. Because I wasn't going to do my big combust, because I don't have hyperthread wrist wraps, right? I don't have my gladiator's badge, right? So this is going to be my small combust, and we need my big combust for that one on the left. And we don't have bloodlust. So I was just like, we can't do that one, we can't do that one, we can't do that one. So we do this one first after, and that's what we were kind of discussing there, and that's why we took a little bit to figure that out. Anyway, we do this one first, and then we should be going. That was a bad blink right there. That could have been bad if the pat was there, the crusher pat. We do this, wait for everything to be up, and we take the brine scales and the pack to the left up to the pack further. You'll see in a second. So right now I've got 23 seconds on bust. And is it 23? Yeah. So I've got like 15 seconds or so. So he's just going to wait for it to pat so I can get like a bust right at the beginning. Probably a bad call, honestly. Probably should have just pulled it as soon as we could, just so other people start DPSing, and it's not really a damage loss because I'll bust at like 90% still. Go in, put my stuff down. It's okay to put the Worldvein down a little bit early because it lasts for like 15, 20 seconds or something. So, but I go, combusting, boost. And we kill the stuff relatively quick. I believe I you should combust a oarsman back up there, but right here there's no oarsman, I believe. So if there's a harpooner or brine scales are generally best because there's nothing that's higher health as far as I know. So what you should be combusting, if there's nothing higher health, the most dangerous stuff. And if something doesn't move right, you should be probably not combusting it unless you have a way for it to move to the other pack. You want to make sure whatever you're combusting is going to be able to spread ignite. So you want to have all the like in the center of all the targets almost, so it ignite spreads very well. So what we're doing right here is we kind of discuss like, well, what should we do with the hunter? Because he has to go do this thing. It takes like 20 seconds. So are we going to waste our time, or what are we going to do? So we actually decide to go up to the obelisk, do the obelisk, bring it to where it's going to be put down, because I have combust right now, so I'm just kind of sitting on it, which sucks. You never want to sit on combust if you can help it, right? You want to get good value out of each combust, but you also don't want to sit on it because you're losing so much value. So we go and decide, this is actually really bad combust right here. I thought I had put my ring of power down, but I did not. But anyway, we go and we're killing it, and we actually bring it over to the gauntlet. So I'm just going to fast forward through this a little bit because it's pretty boring, but what I'm looking at right here is I'm looking at my combust, and I'm trying to plan out my next one, and because I already combusted, I'm not going to get a second combust on this thing. I mean, I guess I could, but I think we would get back to boss before my combust's up, and I just wouldn't want to do that. So we get back to the boss after we're done with this. Yep. And the hunter's actually going to pull to save us a little bit of time, and I'm going to pull the swabby, but I think the tank should have, but we're just like on the fly. I'm fonting right here, and the reason that I'm actually fonting is because I know that grape shot's going to come out like 10 seconds in, right? Like right here, which I'm really stupid. I should have been line of sighting this, and I actually make a bunch of mistakes here that get me killed like twice or something. It's ridiculous. Mages should really never die. That they have so much stuff to stop them from dying. Anyway, I knew that was going to happen, and I planned to have my combust ready for right now. So I'm able to combust, get a lot of damage. 3 target cleave's freaking insane. Anyway, go do that, and I'm going to fast forward the rest of this because I pretty much just make a bunch of mistakes, and it just takes a while. Like, that's such a bad mistake. Fun fact, you can actually line of sight her grape shot and her powder shots back here, which is what you want to do. Don't be silly like me and get hit by them and have to ice block grape shots because you're just panicking. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Alright, and a few more things about this boss, just while you see me die like 3 times. You can actually bait if it's the dude on the council that throws the weapon and it spins around, you can actually bait it on the top of that one building, which is really cool. But you have to watch another video to see that. Anyway, we pull this pack. I say let's pull the Crusher, because I want to pull the Crusher into it, because I know I'm about to bust. You saw me channel my font, right? And this was actually a bad play right here. I should not have Ring of Powered before my Combust was, like, truly ready. Also, I just font, and I don't use my other unuse, right? Which I fonted, and I really should have fonted earlier, and that was the whole problem. I should have fonted with 20 seconds left, or maybe like 23 seconds left on my Combust, because I was just like too eager, and I put that Rune of Power down, and when I put that Rune of Power down, it kind of forces me, because you want as much Combust as you can in there. It forced me to Combust then. It was just a bad call by me. But still ended up getting most DPS that pack. Was that? I don't know. Did alright DPS that pack. Come over here. I believe the Druid's supposed to be doing the RP, the pig RP, but I guess he was a little bit more focused on other stuff. Waiting for my Combust to go in to the other pack, because it's just like annihilates, right? So my Combust is almost ready, and I don't have a big Combust, it's a small Combust, but it still has my Gladiator's badge with it, so it's not super small, right? Alright, so I want you to now pay attention to what I'm doing. I put my Worldvein down, queue up my Ring of Power. I'm about to Scorch, but because of that Quake, I cancel my Scorch, actually. And then, because I had already put my Rune of Power down, I need to Combust. So I Combust, and look at my Blaster Master stacks. Little Fox down there, I'm actually able to maintain them the whole time. A little bit thanks to a lucky Lucid proc, but if you can maintain those Blaster Master stacks, you do insane damage, seriously, especially on AoE cleave situations like this with the big ass Crusher throwing those bricks. Anyway, so I think the rest is pretty straightforward. The heals, or someone, probably me honestly, should have been doing that pig while we were doing this, just to get it over with. I think I actually stepped down after this. And then we pull another Crusher into Ludwig von Tortolin. And once we were done with that, I think we pull some of these yellows over here. Stupid me got fire locked. So we pull some of these yellows. And then from there, you'll see me coming out of this, right? So I'm going to have my big Combust for Trothak. I start fonting. It lines up perfectly with my Gladiator's badge. Then we come down here, and because of us having a Resto Druid that's super good at kiting these sharks, I believe I sit here. It's either this Combust or the next one, but I sit here. Yeah, and say, if the shark comes on me, you gotta get it off me. If the shark comes on me, you gotta grab it. And, of course, the shark comes on me. And he's a freaking sick healer. Notice I'm keeping those Blaster Master stacks, and I'm sitting in my Ring of Power still. So, it ended up being alright. I'm gonna fast forward through the rest of this pretty much until we get to the last boss, and so I think it's pretty standard. Maybe the Obelisk got shit. Yeah, so, like, the Obelisk, whenever you're playing the one with the blob, right, and you have the 4 eyeballs shooting, like, mind flays or whatever the hell they are at you, you want to Combust the blob most of the time, and I think I just do a mini Combust here. Yeah, so I make sure not to queue my Gladiator's badge, but I just mini Combust, and then what the tank does is he drags around the blob. So if you're a tank and you're watching this, make sure to drag the blob around. I lose my Blaster Master stacks, but that just happens sometimes. So you want to make sure to bring the blob around. You see how there's Ignite? Not anymore, but there was Ignite ticking on all of those. That is, like, super important to getting these down quick. If you have a Fire Mage combusting on that blob, it gets these down quick. I'm like, calling for help, because I thought other people were going to stay on these a little bit longer, but they did not, and they are targeting me. And I can't, you see how I'm low health, so I can't just run through that stuff. So that sucks pretty bad. Anyway, we go the whole way up to Harlan, and the rest is pretty easy peasy. Yeah, so once I get up to Harlan, I believe I'm going to font here, right? So I know the blob's about to die and we're about to fight Harlan. I should have fonted earlier. I usually font at 30%. If I'm going to bust out of a Obelisk, right, I usually font at like 20 to 30%. But right there I did it at like 15 to 10, which is pretty bad. So I think they're waiting a little bit for me, but they shouldn't wait. You should pull regardless. I think I get first kick on the spider. I usually get first kick on the spider because I'm ranged, but we have a hunter, so he might do it. Let's see. Do I get first kick? Yeah, I did. So Wait for first kick, start combusting the spider. I'd probably take aggro here because it's my big combust. Yeah, it looks like it took aggro. The thing's ready, yeah. And then you're gonna want to have you're gonna want to combust the obelisk if you're playing with the last boss. I had to eat one and dispel it myself. You can dispel lingering off yourself if you're a mage with decurse, just a heads up. Or your druid can do it. But if you're running with a pally, right? If you're running with the holy pally healer, he actually can't spell or dispel curses, right? So you're gonna have to do that yourself if you're running with the holy pally. And like I'm saying, like, focus the freaking spider or obelisk or whatever you're playing, unless if you're super close on time. That's the only time that you would ever want to focus the boss, because the quicker you get that spider down, just like easier it is. Unless if you're perfect with kicks, which you definitely can be, but like for like, pugs and like groups like that, like you probably should just focus the spider. I don't know. And I guess we'll just go through the rest of this. It's pretty simple. Harlan Suite's like a freebie boss, essentially. I've ended up playing the cannon barrages pretty poorly, but I don't know, that just happens sometimes. We were on like fucking sleep mode for the rest of this after we killed the obelisk and everything. Now that Harlan's dead, we still have a little bit of percent to get, and this is what a lot of teams do, because this is literally just free percent. You essentially do nothing to get this. They actually kill themselves. So what we're letting the tank do is the tank's going to go down here solo and essentially just let these mobs cast Painful Motivation. And the biggest thing you can do here is never, never, never interrupt Painful Motivation, because look at these mobs just kill themselves and us get the last percent. How long did that take? Like 20 seconds maybe for that count, so it's essentially a free count. So all in all, the dungeon, I would say went pretty well. Timed it, had a couple minutes to spare, got a 24 Q to do. But I definitely made a lot of mistakes, and I see after reviewing it where I made the mistakes, and I can tell where I think I could do better at, say we were to do this on a 24 or something later on, right? And what I want everyone to kind of get from this, aside from like little tidbits here and there, is that you always need to be learning, no matter what class, spec, role you play, you always need to be learning, and you can learn from so many different sources in World of Warcraft. You can learn from Twitch streams, you can learn from YouTube videos, you can learn from anyone, you can learn from people that had just started playing the game and learn stuff about Fire Mage. Like, there are just so many sources of information for this game. It is incredible. And the metagame is always changing. The metagame is constantly changing, so keeping up with different players' streams and, I don't know, just like different content is super important. So make sure to pay attention to all of that and learn your class super well. I'm still learning my class a lot, and I've been playing it for, the past couple months, and I've been diving into it a lot, and it is super, super, super interesting. And I guess that's really all I have to say. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I think I'll be streaming over at Twitch. I'll probably pop a link down in the description. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or hop into the Mage Discord. There's a lot of helpful folks over there. And enjoy your day.